The sunrise found us heading west on I-66 towards Front Royal in Strasburg. On this day, February 17th, my friend Trevor and I had a simple objective. Go find the CSX Shenandoah subdivision, which runs between Strasburg and Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, and find what we could. We had never been to this line before, so it was a new expedition for both of us, and we had some rudimentary information as to where things were, but we were going to try to do our best to find any moving trains on the line today. After getting off 66 at Front Royal and switching to Route 55 to go towards Strasburg, we eventually came up to and started paralleling the old B line extension. This line is a continuation of the former Southern Railway line that runs between Manassas and Front Royal, which you all seem to know and love because it seems like they're in every single one of my videos now. So basically, this line begins at Riverton Junction, where the active segment of the B line swings north on a connection to the ex-Norfolk and Western Hagerstown-Roanoke line, and then it comes out west, paralleling Route 55 basically the whole way, to Strasburg, where it connects to the old B&O line to Harpers Ferry, now the Shenandoah subdivision, and then turns south to go toward Woodstock, Mount Jackson, and eventually Harrisburg. The line was put out of service in sections during the early 21st century, with the most recent shutdown occurring on the segment seen here, due to the last customer in Strasburg shutting down about a year ago. So we paralleled this line all the way into Strasburg and eventually found the CSX line, but without any trains. That being said, the radio had been silent on the CSX end for almost the entire ride out here. So with that in mind, Trevor and I decided to do a little sightseeing. Okay, so we made it to Strasburg. No sign of the locals yet, but I am here at the Route 55 crossing, also known as Capon Road, and I thought it'd be cool to come over here and look at the old Capon Road depot, which is behind me. I couldn't find a build date for it, but it's been here for a little while. So from what I've read, it was originally a depot that served, I guess, the B&O. And then it was a post office, and then it was a residence, and now it just sits here abandoned here in 2021. It's kind of a shame, 'cause it's kind of an old building and it's got a little bit of charm to it. So, I mean, hopefully somebody restores it as a residence. I mean, I don't know who would want to live right next to the train tracks, but yeah, there's an interesting little piece of history over here on the Shenandoah subdivision in Strasburg. After getting a few photos of the old depot in Strasburg, we continued our push north. We scouted a few industrial spurs to no avail, and eventually we came up on another possible shooting location a few miles south of Stevens City. Well, we're still looking for anything here on the subdivision, but we did come over here to Vaucluse, which is just outside of Stevens City. That's the old depot, another old depot. I don't have a date on this one either, but I know this one's been abandoned longer than the Capon Road building has, so it's amazing how many depots you have here. You have one here, you have one in Strasburg, you have one in Winchester. I try to document all of them while I'm out here, but hopefully we find some moving trains soon. Well, we've made it to Winchester. Still no moving trains, but we do have this power set here. I don't know if they're getting ready to leave or if they're just sitting here waiting for a crew to get on, but they're running, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll leave soon. I don't know where they're gonna go, but I guess that's about it, at least for this part of the line. There's some stuff north of here that we're gonna go look at, but between Winchester and Strasburg, unless this power set goes back south, that's pretty much it. We eventually did find a local working around the Winchester and Western interchange a little further up the line from that power set, and while running back around to catch up with them, we found this at the back end of an industry spur. An old EMD NW2 switcher, originally owned by the Erie Railroad, then Erie-Lackawanna, then Conrail, and now owned by Transmatrix Incorporated and assigned to this industry known as Miller Milling here in Winchester. I'm not sure if it runs, but it was still really cool to see this old soldier still hanging around here in 2021. Okay, so after finding that switcher, we found what I assume is D790, the Winchester switcher. with a Slug and 2 GP40-2s sitting here at Frederick Block and Stone. I don't know if they're waiting for clearance or what they're doing here, but they have been sitting here for about, I don't know, 10 minutes now. So my radio's being an idiot today, so I have that shut off for the day. But we're gonna sit here for a little bit, hope they move, and if they don't, we have a backup plan. They eventually did move not long after I stopped rolling at the block yard, so we headed back west to the crossing at Boscawen Street, just up the hill from the Winchester depot. Trevor and I were under the impression that the local would soon catch up to us and head down towards Strasburg, but after about 20 minutes of waiting and no word or horn from D790, we decided to head back down to the yard to see what the issue was, and once there, we found another surprise. Okay, so we sat up there at the S-curve on the west side of town for like 20 minutes, didn't hear anything from these guys, so we came back down to the Model Railroad Club, and they're here, the train's here. We got here and crew bus was here. Crew gets off, they load up, and they get taken away. So, as far as I'm concerned, this crew's done for the day, so we're gonna have to activate our backup plan.
All right, so what's the plan now?
Okay, so obviously the Shenandoah subdivision was a bit of a dud. I mean, that's, again, we didn't have a lot of information to go off of, but we did see some stuff moving. I got some pictures, but the focus has shifted to Norfolk Southern, as everything seems to do around here. 228, a Harrisburg to Norfolk intermodal is coming south, light power with 8114, which is the original Norfolk Southern Heritage engine in the lead. So considering I need better shots of that, that's our #1 priority based on where we are right now, which is in Winchester, and Berryville is just a short drive to the east. And then down on the B line, there's a rail train, 915, that was cleared to head west from Powell with a AC-44 C6M leader that may or may not be running Southern style, aka long head forward, kind of like Q410 did today. So we're going to slide over here to Berryville, see what the deal is, and we're probably going to end up chasing this 228 all the way back home. We eventually figured out the issue with the radio, and once we did, we tuned into the NS Road channel as we headed east toward Berryville. Once we got there, I got word from another rail fan up north that the action was about to pick up in short order, and 228 was right in the middle of it. All right, so quick update. We made it to Berryville, but the plan has changed a little bit. There's 2 northbounds to the south of us, 16T, the mixed freight that I shot last week with Central of Georgia, and then 227, which is has authorization to leave the inland port after 16T gets by him, so that's going to put them both by us first before either 228 or 13R gets here. So they're probably going to sit one of the trains here, and then they're going to sit the other one at Shenandoah Junction. So I guess we'll just wait for the 2 northbounds to show up. Well, I was half right. After about a 45-minute wait, the first northbound came up, but instead of 16T, it was 227, foreign intermodal for Harrisburg with some general freight for Enola on the bottom end. Today he's all bare tables, having just dropped the entire loaded cut at the Virginia Inland Port, 15 miles to the south at Cedarville. Of note on the head end is the Dash 9 leader, something that's becoming slowly harder to find on the Norfolk Southern these days due to the AC-44 C6M rebuild program. We had heard another horn blowing before 227 made his approach, and Trevor and I thought it was either 13R or the train we had been waiting for, 228. A few minutes later, we got our answer. Taking advantage of the train being light power for the time being and passing their partner train, 227, between here and the north end of the siding at Audley, soon enough, down came NS 228, foreign intermodal traffic for Norfolk, with NS 8114 doing the honors as advertised. An AC 44C6M trailed elephant style. They pulled up just enough so they wouldn't trip the crossing behind us and stopped, because the second northbound, 16T, was coming up fast behind us. And soon enough, here they came, with an SD70 ACC leader with what sounded like a P5 that needs some serious TLC. Trevor and I had debated about leaving Berryville to go about 6 miles south to Boyce to shoot them passing the N&W depot there, But not even 90 seconds after 16T's last car cleared, 228 answered that question for us. I don't know why that alarm bell was ringing on the C6M, but if anybody knows why it's doing that, feel free to let me know. But with 228 out of the way and headed to the port, another priority came to the forefront for us. Lunch.
Go.
Okay, so that was 228 with 8114 as advertised. Looks a lot better than I thought it did last time I saw it, which was on 12R a few weeks ago, so that's always nice. And obviously no train, again, because that's somewhat normal. But they're going down to Front Royal to switch the inland port at Cedarville, and Trevor and I are gonna go get some lunch. After getting lunch in Boyce and driving down to Cedarville in time to watch 228 pull out and head towards the B line, Trevor and I got into more familiar territory and started to stake out a few spots. The first of which was here at Markham, where the old depot provided a nice backdrop as 228 came around the corner. Knowing that 228 would have to slow down between Delaplane and Rectortown because of a few tight curves, Trevor and I scooted ahead to Marshall, where we met up with fellow rail fan Daniel Simon, and caught the train yet again as it came through the curve headed east. Initially, the plan after this was to go to Catlett and shoot it at speed, but that 9:15 rail train from earlier had created a bit of a bottleneck around Powell, so we had to reorganize while the train came up on us. By the time 228 had cleared, Trevor and I had decided on a spot, and we settled in at Bristow at the NS crew change office, where the jam began to untangle. First out of the gate was this empty coal train, 777, running from Hyco, North Carolina to Shire Oaks, Pennsylvania, with a much better sounding P5 compared to the one at Perryville from earlier. It amazed me how fast they got the train up to speed despite it being an empty coal train. But then I realized it was probably due to the DPUs on the bottom end, allowing them to throttle up a little faster without putting extra strain on the couplings. Recently, NS has been fooling around with how they run the empty coal trains, sometimes leaving them complete, like you'll see here, and sometimes putting all 4 units on the head end for the ride back up to Pennsylvania or West Virginia. It usually depends on where they're coming from and what the crew's preference is for the ride. Rail train out of the way and 777 on his way west to meet 228 at Gainesville, Atlanta to Rutherford Intermodal 214 came up behind us and stopped at the Bristow Road crossing to do his usual routine of a crew change. However, in no short order, 228 came down the hill and put a temporary halt to those proceedings. After Bristow, and with light fading, we headed south one more time to Culpeper to catch the train in the evening light. We initially thought the chase was going to be a lot closer than it should have been, but initially they got held up at Nokesville for 12R, which was running late, again. But then, after some slow traffic was encountered on Route 29, they almost caught back up to us, and we had to change the plan one more time. We set up at a crossing just south of our original planned location at the Amtrak depot and watched as 228 silently came into town, caught the last bit of evening light off the old station building, and headed into the darkness toward Norfolk. So that was our last shot of 228 with 8114. They're in the wind for Norfolk, and I'm taking Trevor home, and then I'll soon be back home myself. So tell you, it's been a long day. We've been at this since 7:30. God. So we're both pretty burned out, but thank you all for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy the new format. I may flip between formats in the future, but that remains to be seen. But go ahead, drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all very soon.